Okay, what if I told you that you could write 5,000 words in just 1 hour? I know, it sounds absolutely insane. But today, we're breaking down a system that claims you can do exactly that. It's all based on Chris Fox's book, 5,000 Words per Hour. So let's see how you go from struggling writer to a high-speed writing machine.
Have you ever been there? I mean, really been there. Staring at that blinking cursor on a blank page, feeling that frustration build up, you're procrastinating, you're getting stuck in perfectionism, and you just can't get the words out? Well, you are definitely not alone.
Yeah, that feeling has a name. We're calling it the writer's wall. It's that awful feeling of being completely and utterly blocked. It's the core problem that holds so many talented people back from actually getting their work done.
And this wall, it's built out of a few common things, right? You've got painfully slow productivity, that paralysis that comes from trying to make every single word perfect, the total lack of any real system, and probably the worst of all, just sitting around waiting for inspiration to strike, which, let's be honest, almost never happens on schedule.
But what if the problem isn't you? What if the problem is just the way you think about writing? This book introduces a pretty radical idea. Instead of treating writing like some kind of mystical art, what if we decided to train for it, like an athlete? Just look at this comparison. The old way, right? It's all about writing as an art, waiting for inspiration, and your output is totally unpredictable. But the new way? It frames writing as a craft, something you can train for systematically to get consistent, high-level results. It's not about talent, it's a trainable skill. And that really gets us to the main idea of this whole thing. The big takeaway is this: writing speed isn't some gift you're born with. It's an athletic skill that you can build. Seriously, just like a muscle. You can develop it through specific training, by tracking your progress, and by taking control of your environment. So the book we're diving into is 5,000 Words per Hour, Write Faster, Write Smarter by Chris Fox. He published this guide back in 2015, and it's basically a productivity Bible for writers. If you're a commercial author, a content creator, or really anyone who's driven by deadlines, this is for you. Okay, so how do we actually do this? How does it work? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the system itself. It's built on 5 core principles that, together, create a full-on training program for your writing. The very first principle is all about a mindset shift. You have to truly believe that speed is a skill you can develop. It's not something you just wish for, it's something you build through focused practice and by getting rid of all those distractions. The big realization here is that so many of us fail because we treat writing like art instead of a craft that needs discipline. So the first action step is simple, but it's super powerful. Figure out what your current words per hour is. Get a baseline. Then just commit to short daily practice sessions. That's it.
And that leads us to the absolute engine of this whole system, microsprints. Think of them as short, intense, timed workouts for your writing. And there's one golden rule. Your inner editor? Yeah, that voice is locked away. No editing allowed, at all.
You don't just jump into a marathon, right? The system is all about progressive training. You start small with just 5-minute sprints, and you slowly work your way up. This builds your writing muscle memory, and it trains your brain to just snap into that focused mode on command.
Principle number 3 is all about your environment. See, your brain is an association machine, and you can totally use that to your advantage. Having a dedicated space and a consistent schedule, well, those aren't just nice little perks, they are critical training tools. The book has this awesome name for it, your tortoise enclosure. By writing in the same spot at the same time every day with 0 distractions, you're conditioning your brain. You're creating these psychological triggers that scream, hey, it's this time, in this place, it's time to write. Suddenly, flow state becomes a habit, not an accident.
All right, principle 4. This one goes after the #1 killer of writing speed, editing while you're trying to write. Trying to do both at once, it's like driving a car with one foot slammed on the gas and the other one slammed on the brake. You go nowhere.
And this chart just lays it out perfectly. Writing and editing use 2 totally different parts of your brain. The writing zone is all creative flow, it's about momentum. The editing zone is analytical, critical. When you try to mix them, you just create friction and your progress grinds to a halt.
And finally, the 5th principle. This is the one that makes the whole system sustainable for the long haul. Because let's be real, you can't just run on willpower forever. You've got to build in some positive reinforcement.
So the move here is to build a reward system for yourself.
Give yourself small, immediate rewards for finishing your daily sprints, and then set up bigger rewards for hitting your weekly goals. This isn't about bribing yourself. It's about hacking your brain's motivation centers to build habits that actually stick.
So, the million-dollar question, does this high-speed system actually work? Let's get down to it and talk about the final verdict.
Okay, let's be real. The system's biggest strength, it's super systematic and you can start doing it today. It directly attacks the things that kill our productivity. On the flip side, that 5,000 words per hour number, it's definitely a bit of marketing hype. And yes, the focus is heavily on quantity over quality. But that's kind of the point. The goal is to get that first draft down, to just generate words. Quality is a completely separate job for the editing phase. It's also worth pointing out this whole system is based on the author's personal experience, not a ton of scientific research.
So, after weighing all the pros and the cons, especially for its target audience of writers on a deadline, what's our final score? We're giving this system a very solid 7.4 out of 10.
And let's break that down, because the numbers tell a story. It scores a huge 8.5 on practical applicability. Why? Because you can literally start using these techniques right now. But look at research quality. It gets a 6.0, because it's way more based on personal success than on scientific studies.
So if this whole writing as an athletic sport thing sounds like your jam, there are a couple of other great books to check out. The 90-Day Novel by Alan Watt also uses a system but focuses more on story structure. And Rachel Aaron's 2K to 10K is another great one on speed that pays a little more attention to quality during the drafting phase.
And that really brings us to the final takeaway, which is a question I have for you. After hearing all this, how are you going to approach your own work? Are you going to keep treating writing like this mysterious art that just depends on inspiration? Or are you going to start treating it like an athletic skill that you can train, you can measure, and you can master? The choice really is yours.